subscribe for daily updates. Let's break this down, because the more I sit with it, the more it just doesn't add up when it comes to Caitlin Clark and the way things have been handled. You've probably heard me bring this up before, but it needs to be said again because it's ridiculous. Caitlin Clark has been dealing with a real injury, a groin issue. And anyone who knows sports understands how tricky that is. You can feel fine one moment, then tweak it the next, and suddenly, it lingers, doesn't just disappear. And yet, all season long, Clark has been playing through it. Traveling, making appearances, and pushing herself game after game. Instead of protecting her and managing the situation properly, they've let the cycle keep spinning. Yes, it's great that Caitlin takes time to connect with young fans. Like when she recently met Ari McDonald's O team in Golden State. That's who she is as a person, and it's admirable. But let's be real, why is she even in Golden State right now? The Fever have played 40 games, and she's appeared in just 13. She's clearly not at 100%. And yet she's everywhere, doing everything, instead of getting the recovery she needs. That's the bigger problem. If you want Caitlin Clark to have a long career, if you want the Fever to build around her, you don't run her into the ground during year one. And it's not just Clark. Look at how Stephanie White recently explained Chloe Bai's situation. She said Bai's left knee swelled up from traveling but claimed it wasn't a setback. Hold on a second, that's exactly what a setback is. She was cleared to play, then swelling kept her out. That's not business as usual, no matter how you spin it. And if traveling is causing setbacks for one player, why in the world is Caitlin Clark, who has her own tricky injury, being flown all over the country? Why is she being paraded around from city to city, signing autographs, making appearances, doing everything except resting and rehabbing? That's negligence, plain and simple. Soft tissue injuries require constant attention and rehab. Traveling should be the last thing on the list. Yet here we are, with Clark missing almost the entire season but still being used as a marketing tool. The Fever and the WNBA know exactly what they're doing. They treat her like a showpiece, a mascot dangling her in front of fans, even if she can't play. Courtside appearances, autograph sessions, camera shots. As long as Caitlin Clark is seen, they can sell the story. It's basically the WNBA's version of Taylor Swift at a Chiefs game. The league doesn't even care if the basketball itself is unwatchable as long as the cameras can cut to Clark smiling or clapping on the bench. But here's the danger. She's still injured. She's sitting courtside where players are diving and running at full speed. And it only takes one collision or awkward movement for her to make things worse. She recently had to jump out of the way when a ball came flying toward her, exactly the kind of movement she shouldn't be doing. And for what? There's no competitive or medical reason for her to travel. The only reason is marketing. Every unnecessary risk she takes brings her closer to aggravating the injury and possibly to a point of no return. And that's the nightmare scenario. A torn groin can ruin her career. She may never play at the same level again. It isn't just about today. It's about protecting the future of the most important player in the WNBA right now. And that's why someone close to Caitlin Clark needs to step in. She's embraced her role as the face of the league, carrying responsibilities no rookie has ever shouldered before. That's admirable. But she also needs people in her corner who will say enough is enough. Her agent, Nike, the Fever, all of them should be prioritizing Caitlin Clark, the athlete. Not just Caitlin Clark, the brand. The Fever should be the ones protecting her, but they're not. Even if Clark says she wants to travel, the responsibility is on the organization to step in and stop her. Keep her at home. Focus on rehab. Eliminate unnecessary risks. If she's injured, she shouldn't even be sitting courtside. She should be in a safer spot, away from live action. That's just common sense. But clearly common sense isn't guiding these decisions. The more I think about it, the angrier I get. The Fever's decision-making here is reckless, careless, and short-sighted. People making these calls should be held accountable because they're not just risking one season, they're jeopardizing Caitlin Clark's entire career. Injuries happen, but the way you manage them matters. And the Fever and the WNBA have failed her in every possible way. This isn't about her long-term health. It's about squeezing every drop of marketing value out of her right now, regardless of the consequences. And that's the ugly truth. They don't really care about Caitlin Clark, the player or the person. If they did, she wouldn't be on this endless travel circuit. They care about ticket sales, TV ratings, and headlines. That's it. And until someone in her inner circle takes control and prioritizes her future, the WNBA's brightest star will continue to be exploited instead of protected. So what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, and subscribe to the channel for more. Subscribe for daily updates. Let's break this down because the more I think about it, the more it just doesn't add up when it comes to Caitlin Clark and the way her situation has been handled this season. It's been bothering me for a while, and honestly, it should bother anyone who actually cares about her future in basketball. Caitlin isn't dealing with some minor sprain or a simple tweak. It's been battling a groin injury, one of the trickiest and most frustrating injuries an athlete can face. Anyone who's played sports at a high level knows how deceptive it can be. You might feel fine for a few minutes, then one awkward step or quick movement, and suddenly you're back in pain again. It lingers, it nags, it doesn't just disappear overnight. And yet, despite this, Caitlin Clark has been traveling, playing when she can, showing up to events, signing autographs, and being paraded around as the face of the WNBA. Now, let's stop here for a second. Nobody is questioning Caitlin's heart. Nobody is doubting her dedication. She's shown again and again how much she cares about fans, about teammates, and about the growth of the league. Just look at when she connected with Ari McDonald's, a U team in Golden State. That's genuine. That's who she is as a person. But here's the bigger question. Why is she even in Golden State in the first place? The Fever have already played 40 games this season. She's managed to appear in just 13. Clearly, she's not at 100%. So why is she traveling across the country instead of staying home and rehabbing? Why is she being put in situations that put her body at further risk? That's where the problem starts, not with Caitlin herself, but with how the Indiana Fever and the WNBA are handling her. And this isn't just about Clark. Look at how they handled Chloe Bai's situation. Head coach Stephanie White recently claimed that Bai hadn't suffered a setback, even though her left knee swelled up from traveling, which then forced her out of playing. Let's call it what it is. That's a setback. Period. She was cleared to play. She traveled, swelling happened, and she couldn't go. That's not normal wear and tear. That's a setback. So when a coach stands up there and says otherwise, it either comes across as dishonest or flat out clueless. And here's the kicker. If traveling is enough to cause swelling in one player, why in the world are you making Caitlin Clark, with her own tricky injury, fly around constantly? Why is she on every road trip, every media hit, every appearance? Soft tissue injuries like groin pulls or strains require consistency in rehab and stability. Constant travel works against both. Instead of putting her body in the best position to heal, the Fever and the league have thrown her into a never-ending cycle of flights, appearances, and games she can't even play in. And for what? For marketing, for ticket sales, for TV ratings. That's all this comes down to. They're not protecting Caitlin Clark the athlete, they're milking Caitlin Clark the brand. Think about how reckless this really is. Every time she sits courtside, she's right next to the action. Players are diving into the bench, balls are flying out of bounds, and at any moment she could be forced into a sudden movement that aggravates her injury. In fact, we've already seen moments where she's had to jump up to avoid getting hit. That's exactly the type of movement she should not be doing with a groin injury. And yet, she's being treated like a prop for cameras. not a player whose health is fragile and needs to be protected. It's the WNBA's version of Taylor Swift at a Chiefs game, even if the product on the court is struggling. As long as cameras can cut to Caitlin Clark clapping, waving, or smiling, they've got their storyline for the night. But let's be clear about something. This is dangerous. If Clark fully tears that groin, the consequences are catastrophic. We could be talking about a career-changing injury, the kind that keeps her from ever being the same player again. What would it be for?